do is you're going to go down into the corner and get actually these lighter pans than what we were practicing with yesterday. I was just curious to see, some people like tossing the bread, they're like, oh, my hand, they're all fatigued and stuff. We got to build up some stamina. All right, so smaller pan, medium pan, there's no large pan. These are the aluminum pans like what you guys would see in a professional kitchen. This is what the buckhorn pan that we showed you, it kind of more started like this, and then eventually looks like that. All right, so let's talk about some things y'all need to know. Small pan, small job. Get your pan on first, okay, and understand that you guys got oil here. Now every oil has a smoke point and a flash point. This is a mixture of canola, which has a really good smoke point, and then light olive oil, which has decent smoke point but good flavor. Extra virgin olive oil, the stuff that's like green in color, is more for like salad dressing. It's not for sauteing. We want to have some oil. Now, is this flammable? Yes. So do this away from the flame, even though you saw me, because if you squirt oil straight into the fire to make a flare up, it'll be the last thing you do in this classroom. Are you clear on that? So don't mess around. Now, that's nice and getting popping. We've got butter. Butter's got great flavor, but butter by itself is going to burn. All right, so when you guys get this butter here, we have tongs if you need them. We're talking not even a tablespoon of butter. Going to go in, and that's going to get foamy. Now what I'm going to get going in this pan is something known as caramelized onions. So caramelizing is a fancy word for burning the sugar. It's a good burn, not a bad burn. All right, let me turn this down some. So some things taste better when they're slightly burned. Okay, toasted Pop-Tart as opposed to one out of the package. Okay, dry roasted peanuts as opposed to raw peanuts. It just intensifies the flavor. Okay, and there's sugars in there that we're trying to burn. Now I told you before, 80 to 90% of vegetables are water. Water and oil don't like each other. So when this hits the pan, do you guys see a little brown and foam? You may get a flare up. Okay, you may get a little bit of a flare up because there's some water in there. So when you shake this up, you might get a little flare. Just watch out for your eyebrows. All right, so this is going to go low and slow in the back, just like slow cook. And what else you guys have available to you is pepper in the form of a pepper shaker. All right, salt you guys need to get for yourself. Okay, and the thing to know about salt and pepper is they can burn easily. Okay, and you don't want to add the seasoning too early. So if we guys give you some salt, you don't need but a teaspoon. Whatever you put your fingers into, at the end of the day, we throw this away because your finger's been all up in it. Make sense? And this is kosher salt. And why we use that is this bigger grain of salt, I don't even know if that shows in the camera. This bigger grain of salt sticks to my fingers less. Now I'm just burning my arm hairs. All right, so when you guys sprinkle, and if you go online, you might see some dude called the Salt Bae who's like doing stuff like that. No one, he's a thing. You guys don't go to the right site. All right, let's fire this up. This is gonna be a bigger pan. All right, this is my main saute pan. So we're gonna get our butter and oil in. So again, there's a lot of butter left for the next group. Okay, I want this to be nice and warm. And then as we told you guys, the density factor. Onions, need a head start. Carrots, bell peppers. Okay, my garlic before my squash, it's all finished. And you gotta kind of know the size of the pan because what we don't want is to overcrowd the pan where basically the food is just sweating. So if it gets heated, it's gonna give off, here's our onions. Okay, I'm gonna turn that down. If we have too much stuff in here, it's gonna give up moisture and then it's just gonna get soggy. All right, so you guys have your bench scraper if you want. Let's go ahead and get our onions in. And bell peppers about the same time. Okay, and you guys are gonna be in a little metal pan, or you can have your cutting board, but don't put the cutting board over the stove because I don't want you to drop it. Okay, again, you guys can do the tossing, or if you don't trust yourself, do the wooden spoon. Okay, if you toss the vegetables everywhere, guess what you need to do? Clean it up and get back to work. All right, so we're just tossing this to help coat it. It's not swimming in fat because this is all gonna get absorbed. Here come the carrots. Okay, and if you guys want to, when I'm this far in, then I'll start seasoning. Some salt and some pepper. I tend to season in layers. Okay, but we don't want to do it too early in the process. Okay, so when I feel like this has a little gloss on it, there's no brown going on, then it's time for my garlic. So it gets a little head start. And again, there's nothing wrong with using the wooden spoon to stir it, right? So if you're able to toss it. Onions are still hanging out. Onions now are going to get a little salt and pepper. I'm still cooking those down. Okay, and now that garlic had about 30 seconds, it's going to be time for my squash. Now this purple eggplant is already starting to brown right before our eyes. So that's why it's the last thing I cut in my demo and the last thing I split for y'all here. Okay, and that's just an indicator of how live this stuff is. This is the type of food y'all want to be eating. Even if the gut doesn't suggest that I'm living right, this sort of live, recently in the ground, living stuff, okay, is better stuff for us to be eating. All right, so we're going to get a little color on that, like we said. And then we finished, we said, with the acid. You can either do a squirt of lemon or some of the balsamic vinegar, just some sort of acid. And then this parsley is a garnish. This isn't supposed to be cooked. Okay? So these veggies are really, all these vegetables you can eat raw, right? It's like a snack. So we're not so much cooking them to break them down, it's just to add a little heat to it and a little flavoring. All right, so if I feel like this has gotten enough, and you might feel like it's dry, but avoid like pouring a bunch of oil in because you're just gonna make it greasy. It's gonna give up moisture as it cooks. Then we're good. So, you guys be careful if there's flame around. Can y'all see this right here? Yeah, where we're gonna go? That's it. So we don't really have plates to eat off so much as your vegetables done. Okay, what do you guys, lemon juice or balsamic? Lemon juice, okay, or balsamic, or both. And then the parsley is a garnish on top. All right, that's a serving of sauteed veggies.
This saute process took about 7 minutes in time, so it's really important that you're well organized and planned out of what it is you're going to saute, because the process will go fairly quickly. You don't want to be cutting things while things are burning on the stove, so make sure that you are extra organized today.